Yeah, man, they say David lied to Celeste's parents, man. If y'all don't know, David been charged with Celeste murder. We finna get right into it. Choblo Ross, he been giving all the little, information that's not in the news. So we finna react. We finna give our opinion. If you're not subscribed to the channel, subscribe to the channel. That's how you follow us. It's free. Free to follow us. So go ahead, hit that subscribe button. Like the video. I'm finna jump right into this reaction.
So I'm reading between the lines of some of the David paperwork, and there are still
And what they saying, Trap? Like, you read between the lines and let us know what they saying, Trap.
some interesting details that you can glean if you just look a little bit closer. There's a couple of snippets from the paperwork that laid out every disgusting thing that David had done to Celeste, and there's a few things in there, if you just pay close attention to the wording, it makes you realize that actually there might have been some very sketchy things going on behind the scenes, and it really concerns David and the parents of Celeste. So this is a post that I'd been looking at a few days ago. This says David was contacted by Celeste's family. So
They know she was young, and the family said they ain't want him messing with her. Why they contacting him? Like, what's going on?
again, if you read between the lines in the paperwork, you start to realize that there's actually some key details that we haven't been, given as the public yet. But the prosecutors are actually hinting at some interesting behind the scenes interactions between David and Celeste's family. So look at this. I'm going to read this to you and just think about what's being said. These words, they're very, very selectively chosen, and they communicate a lot of things beneath the surface. So it said, despite knowing she was dead and that her family was trying to find her, the evidence will show how the defendant lied and claimed he didn't know where she was. So this sentence, right? Just like how they said David, stood by and watched her bleed out, and we're saying, well, what's the proof of that? What's the evidence of that? We're going to find out when we get to the trial, but at this stage, we're just getting little, vague explanations from the prosecutors. The entire
So, Trap, you saying he stood there and watched her? And yeah, they definitely saying, like, despite knowing, like, he knew, like, he was still lying to the family, like, oh, playing along, like, oh no, I don't know what's going on. Hmm.
entire story that the prosecutor has put together and told in this paperwork is based on facts. It's based on the 40 terabytes, unlimited evidence that they have that will eventually come out once we get to the full-blown trial. Okay, so when it says despite knowing that she was dead and that her family was trying to find her, that means David knew she was dead, but he also knew that the family was trying to find her. This suggests to me, as the title of this post says, David was contacted by Celeste's family. So it seems to suggest, right, they don't need to provide evidence.
Yeah, he was. He was definitely contacted by the family. Hmm. Did his industry people know that this was going on? Like what? This dude here, weird.
Of everything they say in their complaint, but they're basically building a narrative based on everything they know. So it says David knew she was dead, obviously, because he allegedly killed her, but it said David knew the family was trying to find her after her death. Now, we haven't seen any missing persons posters from after April 23rd, 2025. We haven't seen any public statements, but that would suggest to me that the prosecutors actually have evidence that Celeste's family were trying to find Celeste, that they've contacted David, and it says here, the evidence will show the defendant lied and claimed he didn't know where she was. That would suggest to me that somebody from Celeste's family reached out to David personally, contacted
Hmm. Your vote for him. Okay, close the door. Go. I ain't got no charger. Go.
him, asked where Celeste was, and he lied, and he said he didn't know where she was. There must have been communication between David and the family, okay? So I haven't seen much mention of this, but based on the prosecutor's brief, Celeste's family contacted David asking about her whereabouts, and he lied, saying he didn't know where she was. For all the people speculating the family didn't even look for her and that they were negligent, the evidence says otherwise. This is irrespective of the fact that they were cleared of negligence charges. What this statement shows me is a worried family, and it seems they were in contact with David as well, to some extent, or that they knew how to reach him. This aligns with a previous report from a friend of Celeste who stated her parents asked.
So the parents was okay with him being that older and still messing with her? That's the part I'm confused about. Or they was like, she being disobedient and we know she over there and we trying to stop it. You know what I'm saying?
Her if she knew where Celeste was. Close friends have even stated her mum would sleep on the floor of her room and lock the door so she couldn't escape. This doesn't paint a picture of a family who doesn't care about what their teenage daughter is doing. This shows me they were actively searching for her, but when you have a kid who wants to run away and they have the means to do so, enabled and encouraged by a wealthy celebrity, there is very little you can do. I hope this.
Oh. So he was aiding her. Yeah. What the celebrity? Yeah, he was aiding her and she ran away and he was able to hide her. Okay.
Settles those who are constantly attacking the family at such a sensitive time. So it says people that have replied clearly don't understand legal talk. They wouldn't have added that part in the brief if they didn't know his family contacted him. Because if they went to trial and it comes out that that never happened, the state loses credibility. This is very calculated. These people have been doing their jobs for years. They know what they're doing. And I'm sure a lot of people here don't know much of anything about the legal system based on the replies. Okay. So it says the fact that they took her phone after first meeting David and David went to her school to pay someone to give her a new phone. Who knows how long they were in contact while the family thought she was safe with no way for him to communicate with her. That shows the family was at least attentive and trying to protect her from the beginning. It also shows that David was persistent in pursuing her despite their attempts to protect her and distance her from him.
Hold on. Y'all telling me the parents took her phone and this wealthy singer, rapper, whatever, whoever he is, David. I don't know, this singer dude, David, bought her another phone and sent it up to the school. He was thirsty for her chat. He was too thirsty.
I feel bad about the narrative that people are pushing. It was hard to keep me apart from my middle school boyfriend when we broke up preteen. I can't imagine the struggle of trying to keep a determined rich man with money, cars, etc. away from your daughter. Not to mention, police went and talked to him after their first meeting. Even if the family was telling police she was with David, it doesn't seem like police would do anything unless they actually found and saw her there with him. Okay. People are saying, I don't know why you're getting downvotes, cheat comments. I agree. This shows that they were looking for her, which can only mean they contacted her or had someone do it on their behalf. Okay. People keep posting and inferring a lot from this brief. Nowhere does it say the family contacted David. They may have, but we really don't know. Right? It says they didn't have to contact him and ask where she was because David knew for a fact they were looking for her and it's on record, but his manager was sent the email. I disagree. Honestly, I disagree. It says knowing she was dead and the family was trying to find her. Knowing she was dead and the family was trying to find her, that suggests a timeline of after the death. That's not, despite lying to the family back in February when she was still alive. No, it says knowing she was dead and the family was still trying to find her, and then he continued to lie and claim he didn't know where she was. Okay, I haven't seen anything of him saying I don't know where Celeste is publicly.
They say, in fact, the defendant drove to Santa Barbara County immediately after the victim died, attempting to dispose of her property and destroy evidence. At approximately 11:30 p.m. on April 23rd, 2025, he drove from his home as he texted and called the victim's phone, asking where she was. Again, these were acts calculated and planned to set up his defense with a very short timeline after the victim's vicious murder. What?
She just disappears.
Chat, this dude David is wild, chat. I ain't gonna lie. He's wild, chat.
He gets on with his life. They're not talking about a social media post or him telling his friends he doesn't know where she was. He's saying the family, he knew that she was dead and the family was trying to find her after the death. Says to me, that's exactly what was going down. So I got some more posts that are interesting just about Celeste and the family and what was really going on. This says Celeste was not just a victim, she was a star witness, according to the prosecutors, right? And I think it's really important just to remember how heinous this crime was. This wasn't just he just killed a minor for the fun of it because he wanted to save his career. She was a star witness in an investigation against him for being a PDF already.
What? What? She was a star witness, chat?
That's what was going on. And he took out the star witness. It's messed up. So it says the question posed involves a hypothetical scenario where Celeste, as a key witness in an Epstein-type investigation against David, discovers the truth about lawyers after she emotionally disclosed all of her allegations of his multiple relationships with minors, which she believed would ruin him. Okay? Given her history with him, Celeste may have understood his capabilities and believed herself immune to threats. However, the others might have been fearful, potentially leaving David to conclude that her elimination would collapse the case against him, especially if the prosecution indicated she was not only a witness for herself, but had information and evidence regarding others. Now, this is really interesting. Star witness in an Epstein-style investigation against David. Now, we've heard numerous people.
Females like her and around her age? Oh, yeah, he's a wild boy, chat. They's finna get him, though. He probably knew they's finna get him, man. They's finna get him.
People like SF Investigates and others saying that there is proof that David was actually messing with multiple minors. They're saying that he might have had some at different houses. He might have just had other people in the pipeline. Apparently, Celeste was upset. She found out he was unfaithful to her, other minors, other girls. And it really comes to suggest maybe the other girls didn't want to go to the police, but Celeste went and said, I'm a minor, and there's other minors I know about that have been involved with this guy. So it's a really, really good point, and it just drives home how serious this was. Forget the fact that he was a PDF and a murderer. That's already bad enough. But this is literally, imagine that it wasn't David and Celeste. Imagine that this girl was exposing a completely different celebrity. Let's say it is a Jeffrey Epstein. Let's say she was.
Maybe she was finna take down the whole operation. Chat. That's scary, right? She probably got. Hmm.
Was planning to expose Jeffrey Epstein like Virginia Giuffre, and then she ends up getting killed, right? No different. It's the same. It's the same thing, and it's very, very chilling because think of all the people that died suspiciously surrounding the Epstein case. Go and watch the many murders of Jeffrey Epstein on my main channel if you want to know about the dozens of people that died very suspiciously that were trying to expose Epstein. It's the same thing, and he is a one-man Epstein network taking her out. It's messed up, right? I don't know what else it's
Hmm.
about. Anyway, all right, we'll forget the comments on this one. So apparently, there's actually call logs which show Celeste's parents made contact with law enforcement just days after Celeste's death. And again, this I believe comes to connect.
Parents was calling the police on him. They pulling the call logs and everything. Riverside County Sheriff's Department data warehouse report by address. What?
To that first post that I showed you, where I would say that I believe that Celeste's parents contacted David and David lied to them. Now, this is new information, and it goes to show you Celeste's parents contacted law enforcement April 27th, 4 days after her murder. There was no report written, and they conducted a follow-up on the 9th and 10th of September, nearly 5 months later. Now, I wonder whether that follow-up was to ask them about the body that was found in the Tesla, or whether that was a coincidence, and then within a couple of days of that, they're finding out. And no doubt, when the parents saw that the singer David a body had been found in the car belonging to the singer David, that their hearts dropped, okay? But look, it says here the April 27th call was classified as a minor criminal matter, but interestingly, there was no report taken listed in the description. Instead, the disposition was NS, meaning no service needed, and the written column it says no, there was no formal written report or anything else associated with that.
Maybe they weren't even taking the family serious, man, because the family saying like they do it and ran off with some big rapper singer, and they like, man, we hear this all the time, man, in L.A. or wherever they from, we hear this all the time, type stuff, like.
Incident. Then the Celeste family no longer have contact with the police for nearly 5 months. I think that is the period when they contacted David. Police ain't doing shit for them. They know this minor was running away to chill with this rich, famous singer. No doubt they contacted him. Could have DM'd him, could have pulled up on him. I think they knew a lot. And I think they were trying to get to the bottom of this, and David lied to them. It said things appear to escalate later in September. Follow-up activities logged September 9th and 10th, immediately after Celeste is found in the trunk. Then on September 12th, a formal report was written under the Penal Code for vandalism. And then there were 3 more follow-ups, followed by a 415 disturbing the peace call on September the 29th. Okay, so this is the original report provided by the Riverside County Sheriff's Department data warehouse. So people actually dug into this and found out what was going on. It says one officer from police department said the mum had been at the police station many times and they kept treating it as a runaway situation. Okay, so it sounds like
I say, chat, they was tweaking all the time. Shorty out here tweaking for real.
they were digging and trying to get to the bottom of this, and they were going to the police station, and maybe the call logs don't record it. But Celeste's family were looking for her diligently, and it's just unfortunate that David lied to them, allegedly. So a lot of people are asking what happened when she went missing the second time, and I find this suspicious too, because I think she went missing on Valentine's Day, February 2024. You know, a bunch of messages and posters are sent to David and his management, and eventually she comes back, right? Then we start seeing aunties and cousins posting, be careful out there, these creeps are online. People start commenting on David's TikTok that he's messing with a minor. So this becomes an open secret. What happened when she went missing in April? 2 months later, she goes officially missing again. And that time, it seems like nothing ever happened. No one ever sent her back. She's going off on trips to London.
Yeah, people just like, she messed with this guy. He like little girls. Like, it wasn't really none. It wasn't really none, Trap. They was like, oh man, it's over with. He taken her out of town. She gone.
I don't know what's going on. So it says, I can't find much information about this. I know she went missing before to be with David, but what actually happened the last time? Was he even on the police's radar? Did they look into any leads at all? Or did they just assume she was a runaway because it happened before? It's terrifying to think that if he had buried her in his yard or disposed of her body somewhere else, she might still be missing and no one would know. So many people knew about their relationship and not a single person reported him. So people saying, all we know from police records is the family was in contact with the police 4 days later. And after that, it's radio silence. Life went on as usual, posting weird stuff on Facebook up until the body was found months later. Okay. So that info isn't publicly available. The majority of the evidence they have from the lead up to the actual murder will likely be kept under wraps until the actual trial. It will no doubt include statements from friends that will explain, or perhaps not, why they didn't report it. And says, if you look at the call logs that were posted, her parents literally contacted law enforcement on April 27th, which was only 4 days after she went missing. Hang on.
Zorro gets you. You make things move, work, happen. You make sure to remember the tiny.
My bad. Law enforcement on April 27th. Is that 2025 or 2024? So that actually says they contacted law enforcement on April 27th, 2025. That's the murder, when the murder was going on. Now, if this is all call logs to the police, what's interesting, obviously, this is when she went missing for the first time. And this run of calls is basically related to her disappearance. Seems like there was calls again in March and again in April when she went missing again, and then all the way up to calls being made in 2025. So actually, it's kind of referring to both incidences. But let me just pull back to where I was. I did think that was really interesting. So, so if you look at the
Y'all feel like we need to go and get food and needle, man. He got out on little Celeste, man. Y'all feel like David bogus, man, and he got caught, and that's the only reason why, you know, he did what he did. You know, he feel like he got caught and Shorty was working. Let me know y'all thoughts on that. This is wild right here, man. We gonna be following up on this, through a little trial and stuff, man. You know, RIP Shorty Celeste, man. We gonna be back, chat.